Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at each personal month forecast for March 2023. Before we get into it, just know that these are different from the life path forecasts. So the calculations are different, and more than likely, the energy forecast is going to be different as well. So before you have a listen, make sure that you check the calculation to make sure that you're listening to the right one. This is, of course, a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading dedicated to your own personal numerology report, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below, and I would absolutely love to work with you. All right, let's take a look. Personal month 7. Okay, so this month you could find that you feel a little bit more sort of called to seek solitude, sort of spend more time in self-reflection, contemplation, sort of some more alone time to sort of process or integrate or move through some of the deeper thoughts or breakthroughs that you might have had over the last couple of months, right? Or any kind of like, maybe you've been going through some kind of transition or some kind of transformation. And so this is a beautiful month, again, to sort of like organically integrate that, right? Holistically for yourself, right? So anywhere that you can kind of set aside time to spend in solitude, doing something that brings you calm and peace and joy, is very highly supported this month. And so journaling, meditating, sound therapy, whatever speaks to you, walking in the forest, in nature, going out and getting a bunch of plants and surrounding yourself with a bunch of plants, whatever calls to you. This is a beautiful month for that. For, again, sort of finding your own peace and equilibrium while sort of, again, like integrating anything that's sort of been coming up for you or you've been moving through or any changes you've been making, so that you can feel comfortable in what that looks like moving forward for you, right? That's very possible. This can also be a time when you feel like you want to dig deeper, investigate something a little bit deeper, get to the sort of nitty gritty of it, to get to the core of it, the core essence of it, right? 7 energy sort of encourages us to dig deeper, to not take things at face value, but again, to go below the surface and dig deeper into the psyche or into the facts and the more logical side of things as well, right? Coupling the intuition and that gut feeling with sound facts and knowledge and all of those things, right? So this can mean taking an online course or going to a workshop, or enrolling in some kind of study school program or something like that that expands the mind, right? That allows you to learn something new and, again, like just expand your mind, right? That's very much supported under this energy. Now, again, it's a shorter cycle. It's only a month long, but you can do a lot in a month. And so if there's anything that's sort of been sort of nagging at you that's like something doesn't feel right or something, it just feels off, or there's more to the story here or something like that, anything that kind of comes up for you around that, especially this month where it's like, yeah, there's something more to the story here. There probably is, right? And so again, that would be try to look beyond the illusions and dig deeper, go a little bit deeper. This can also bring about to the surface any trust issues that you may have, whether it be trusting yourself when it comes to making decisions or trusting others in relationships, across the board kind of relationships, or trusting the unseen, trusting the universe, trusting God, or whatever you subscribe to. This can be an energy where it's like that sort of, it tests our faith or it tests our trust in ourselves and, again, in those other people or in the universe or whatever, especially if there's an area where we are lacking in trust. Then we can kind of see during these cycles things pop up that test us, right? To see like, okay, how are you going to handle the situation? Can you learn to trust this person, or can you learn to trust your own choices when making a decision, right? Instead of making a decision and then beating yourself up for it if it doesn't turn out exactly as you had planned. So a lot can kind of come up under this energy. This can also be one where you might feel called to explore some of the more metaphysical sides of things, right? So maybe you want to dabble in tarot or get a numerology reading or, play or learn astrology or learn numerology or something like that, right? Any of that can kind of come in very strongly under the 7 energy, just because it is such a connected sort of psychic energy. It's sort of the veil is thinner and the channels are wide open. So during this period, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to what you just intuitively feel called to, right? Even if it's something, or especially if it's something that you wouldn't normally feel called to, definitely follow those hits. Beautiful energy to work with. And we are also in a 7 universal year. So you might feel this energy a little bit more potently since you're working with that energy this month. Now, universally, we are working in March with a 1 energy. And so this is going to sort of bring the fire, right? This is going to bring the ambition, sort of the courage to do something you wouldn't normally do, the confidence, the sort of that energy of initiating something, going after something, taking a risk, that sort of thing. So how I could see this sort of tie in with the 7 energy would be if there's something again where it just feels off, or you have that intuitive feeling that you need to know more, or what you're seeing in the physical does not correlate to what you're feeling, then the 1 energy is helping you to dig deeper, right? To push you to take a risk, to dig a little bit deeper, to ask those hard-hitting questions, to, have the ambition and the motivation to do the research, to not sort of talk yourself out of it, but to actually follow through with it, right? So that can be really beautiful as well. And this can also, what's beautiful about the 1 energy coupled with the 7, because 7 energy, there's a lot of times a lot going on inside, right? Internally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, with this 7 cycle. The 1 energy brings the focus back to self. So this potentially could be a really incredibly beautiful month for you all to learn something new about yourself, right? Something deeper, something that just gets unlocked that you weren't expecting. And you can kind of run with that and, just to sort of tie it to a more metaphysical thing, right? So, maybe you wake up and you become clairvoyant or something like that, right? And that's a side of yourself that maybe might make you a little bit uncomfortable. And so the 1 energy is going to give you the confidence to go down that rabbit hole and see where it takes you type thing. And the 7 is going to encourage you to do that as well, because you're learning something deeper about yourself, right? And facing any irrational fears that might surface around that. Okay, and then we have a full moon that's happening on the 7th of March. And for you all, this is going to bring forth the energy of the 15-6. So what's interesting about this is, and this makes sense, especially given that you're in a 7 cycle, but what might come up around this full moon is that there could be sort of push-pull energy between the needs of your family, the needs of others, and really kind of like your own need for independence, for freedom, for solitude, right? So again, it's going to be this month, or especially around this full moon, because you may find, because you've got that 6 energy, you may find that others just seem to need you more, right? Like you're just being pulled in a million different places. And so it's going to be up to you to really set healthy boundaries so that you're making the time and the space for yourself this month. That's going to be really, really important. And especially I think around the full moon, since you're working with that 6 energy, it just brings others into the sort of, into your experience type thing in a big way, potentially. And so you might see some things come up around the home at this time where you feel sort of like your time is being invested in others and other people's needs and that sort of thing, or, needs of the household, that sort of thing. And you also feel really like this deeper desire for your own space for a little bit, right? Or again, like self-soothing, self-nurturing, just alone time, right? Which would satisfy that 7 energy. So you might just notice, like I said, some kind of push-pull, and really you're really going to be asked to sort of find your own equilibrium between those energies, right? Not to neglect yourself or your own needs, and not to neglect the needs of your family, obviously, right? Or your obligations when it comes to your home. Then around, let me also say, because it is a full moon and things coming to completion or culmination oftentimes under a full moon, sometimes, you may see some like light at the end of the tunnel. If there's something where it's like you've been overly invested in something that has been taking away from your own personal time, or something that's sort of been impeding into your own personal space, you might notice that kind of closes out now, right? Freeing up some time or freeing up an opportunity for you to spend a little bit more of your time doing the things that bring you joy and the things that, just around self, right? So you could kind of see things come to a close there as well. Then we have the new moon on the 21st or the 22nd, depending on where you live within the world. For you, this is really creative energy coming through. Very inspirational, really inspiring energy. Very creative, though. You have the 11-2 and the energy of the 3. So just really beautiful for collaboration. I say that because it's actually 11-2 and 12-3 energy. And so you have a lot of 2s in there. So there's a lot here around like relationships, collaboration, networking. So you could find that at the end of the month, well, I would say around the full moon and potentially around the new moon, they could feel like very busy times for you. So again, you're going to potentially have this sort of between a rock and a hard place where you have to create time for yourself to really honor the 7 energy and what it wants to sort of work with you for, but then also make time for the more social aspects so that you can network and collaborate and, be inspired and, express yourself creatively and all those things, right? Just feels like a little bit potentially of a busier time, especially towards the end of the month, I would say, like around the new moon. So around the 21st or the 22nd. And so again, it's going to come down to you being really sort of aware of how you're spending your time, how you're investing it, and where it is that you can make some time for yourself so that you're not spreading yourself too thin, but you're also reaping the rewards of the more social aspects, right? So like collaboration and networking and communicating and maybe launching something really creative as well. So again, maybe you want to launch a podcast or something on a social network or social platform, social networking platform. Maybe you want to do something like that. Around this new moon, especially with all the 1 energy for the, universally that we're working with, and the 11-2 and 12-3 that you all are working with, this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy for taking a risk, for putting yourself out there, for being the leader in some kind of way when it comes to your own creative endeavors, to your own how you communicate, how you sort of socialize. Any of those things. Travel could also come up around the end of the month for you all, and that is very supported as well. I would say because you have such strong energy around this new moon for the 11-2, anything that inspires you this month is a yes. Anything that sort of takes your inspiration away, I can't say that it would be a no because you might still have to show up for it, right? But I would say the chunk of your time that needs to hold the most of your investment would be that which inspires you. So whatever that looks like for you, give yourself permission to do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And if anything, it's absolutely supported and you're encouraged to do so. So beautiful energies for you if you are in a personal month 7 this month. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.